What's up, creepers? And Geekers Chris, the retro creep, obviously in a bit of an excited mood today. I actually have things written down for today's stream. Only to let me know which picture's next. And hopefully I labeled it correctly. Alright, excuse me one moment. I gotta go get a good fucking pick. I do this to myself every fucking stream. I'm not even gonna turn my guitar off. And I'm gonna throw these old picks away. Bye. Trash. Oh my god. Creep just started streaming. Where is he? I don't know. Where is he? You tell me. Alright. There we go. Now that I got a pick that actually isn't flat. That's actually very thrashy. There we go. Go with the flat at fifth. Either way, hope everyone's doing well today. Violation Entertainment. Screaming that creep alert, letting everyone know. Ricola! I promise I haven't been on the porch. I haven't smoked any trees today. And it's not even so much that I'm just really excited for today's stream or anything. I'm just in a really good mood. I don't know. It's been kind of down lately, and today is not that kind of day. Plus, I also just had probably one of the most amazing chicken salad sandwiches so far in my life. I just whipped it up real quick before coming on. And I don't know about you, but I don't like it on buns. I like it in toast. I like my chicken salad on toast. Some really nice dark toast so the bread doesn't fucking sog up. You got the mayonnaise and hot sauce and the pickles juice. I put a little bit of actually pepperoni juice in it. Really kicks it open. You know what I've been playing a lot lately? I love Joan Jett. As a matter of fact, I had a supervisor that looked and sounded just like her. Even like Joan Jett has this weird thing where she only talks like this, and she's got a that accent from New York and all the crap. Yeah, she looked just like her. Sounded just like her. Had the same little, the way she talked and everything. In fact, at one point, I even asked her, I said, are you fucking Joan Jett, really? Because if you are, I would like to fornicate with you. She just looked at me like, you're an idiot. Go away. We don't need any of that over here. But she was funny. She one of those people that you can, joke around with like that. Let me pick my pick back up. My thumb is starting to get arthritic. It fucking hurts like right here. Right fucking here. It sucks. Another Weird Al classic, absolutely. rocky road. Honestly, the one thing I liked about Joan Jett is, and you know, maybe I'm completely wrong about all of this, but she's just one of those cats where it's like, they heard the guitar, and she's quoted by saying, I was drawn to the guitar because I love the sounds you can make with it and be in control. And I honestly believe, I mean, she probably did have lessons and stuff. I don't think formally she really, you know, she just fucking does it. She just rock and roll. She claims all the time. She goes, I'm more of a rhythm kind of player, and I just kind of groove with the music and all that shit. And she's made it work, you know, over the years. I love Joan Jett. She's a fucking smoke show to this day, even in her elderly age. I knocked the dust off of that pussy. I'm just kidding. I mean zero disrespect. Zero disrespect. I have a lot of respect for that woman. The accomplishment she has made in music in the time period in which she was relevant, and the fact that she is a she, and she's taken extremely seriously. I didn't mean to rhyme there. It's fucking wonderful, you know? Plus, her music is real. It's definitely got that punk vibe. I mean, obviously, she started off with the punk scene, but it's got that real simple, catchy kind of, you know, all of her music does. It's really good shit. Even this, there's this YouTuber guy that used to use a little bit of in his intros. I don't think too many people watch him. Pat something or other. I don't know, that guy sucks. He's a bit of a douchebag, too, whoever that Pat guy is. But regardless, what are we doing today? We are going to look at, and I have 15 of them, 15 toys that throughout the years, and we're going back to the 50s all the way up until the 2000s, toys that have either been recalled or banned for a number of reasons. Maybe some of them were suggestive. Maybe some of them were dangerous. And maybe some of them were just a real bad fucking idea. But regardless, we're going to be looking at 15 of them. And I happen to have a box over here that has 2 that are on this list that we will look at while we get to them. And I'm pretty sure if you've been around long enough, you know one of them that was recalled because it was suggestive looking, that I've had in my possession for a while. As a matter of fact, the 2 items that I'm going to show you as examples actually came from the same person. One of them was a gift, and the other one I purchased for dirt cheap, like $40 cheap. And they go for like $150, if not more now. So, and the one that was free goes for big bucks now, too. Pat, that reminds me. I gotta scrub my oven. I have no idea what scrubbing your oven and Pat has anything to do with. I'm trying to think, is there a connection there that I'm not familiar with? Or not recalling? It's just a fun riff to play. You don't even have to move your hands much. You know? It's just E. Bend the G. A. And what is this? Is that a B? Brillo! Yes! That's probably the iconic part of it right there. What was that? 14? No, 12, 13, 15? Real simple stuff. Real Brillo. I knew you would catch who I was talking about, but I didn't think it would go there. All right, well, fuck it. Let's get into it. We'll start with number 1 here. It's It's a fucking bicycle. In the 70s, we had these things called muscle bikes or wheelie bikes. And they were a way for kids to get into the hot rod scene or the muscle car scene, you know? And they could trick out their bikes and customize them with big long flag poles and egg hangers and all this shit. Well, this one company, I don't know who it is, came out with this thing called the swing bike, if I remember correctly. Let me pull up the picture so I can actually. Can you see my cursor on it? Probably not. Oh yeah, yes you can. There it is. But if you look really close at the bike, you'll notice there's some kind of weird, distinct features of it. Whereas you have your forks over here, you got these nice long forks, right? Then there's this weird spring in the middle. And then another fucking gooseneck and fork. So basically you had two front ends built onto this bike so that the rear wheels can turn and the front wheels can turn. And the idea was that you were supposed to be able to twist the bike while you're riding. And you use your bum for the rear wheels and your hands for the front wheels. And you can imagine the dangers in this fucking bike. I don't know if anyone got this bike and just tacked it, right here with their welder or whatever, and then went with the whole wheelie bike thing. But it's just a completely different design altogether. And I could totally see myself breaking my neck on it. But, look at it. It's cool as fuck. It's got the smaller wheel in the front for the wheelie action. It's got the flat wheels in the back because it's cool. You got your ape hangers over here. You got your banana seat. I really want a muscle bike. I don't want the ones with the shifters, though. The Apollos, I think they are from Raleigh or whatever. I know Huffy had one, too, with the 3 and the 5 gear thing, like literally right here where your nuts are. I never liked that. I don't like geared bikes. I never did. Because when there's a problem, there's a fucking big problem, and I'm not smart enough to fix it. But this bike doesn't have gears. What it has is 2 sets of fucking forks so that both of the wheels can spin. Now that I'm looking at it, I don't know how that would work with the banana seat unless this contraption here was kind of set up like a gyro or a dyno, if you know what I'm talking about, for the gooseneck, so your handbrakes don't get all tangled up while you spin the front, do all kinds of nice BMX bullshit tricks. But this bike, I can't remember if this one was recalled or they just it was just not popular because it was dangerous. So this is one of the ones that would fall under a dangerous, though I'm pretty sure they're pretty expensive today, very highly collectible in the bike world. And definitely an interesting idea. Fucking idiots. Definitely an interesting idea. Let me get this up here. But if anyone had one of these, let me know. Let me know in the comments. If you want to talk about your muscle bike, that's fine. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to talk about the dangerous shit. Not the dangerous shit we did on our bicycles. But yeah, these came in a variety of colors. I don't know what more. Maybe I should have put 20 people here. Or 20 things. So I don't really have a lot to say about this one. This next one, though, surprised me when I found out about it. I literally just Googled. No, there are going to be some of the ones that we think of commonly, like there's a certain thing that you would throw up in the air and it would stick into the ground, or if you were lucky enough, it would stick into your friend's neck. So we will get to that one here eventually. I think it's number 4 on my list. Yes, number 4 on our list. But number 2 on our list after we're done talking about the swing bike is the CSI Crime Scene Investigators Fingerprint Examination Kit. For those who are growing up to be narcs, who aspire to be police, detectives, FBI, whatever the case may be, if you want to work in law enforcement and you want to do science stuff, and when did this come out? I wrote it down specifically, and I'll tell you why. In 2005, this fucking thing came out. In 2005. Now, when we were growing up as Gen X, what was one of the biggest things that we heard about in homes, aside from lead paint that was dangerous, that every house had been using for years? In fact, there was a building at the Danvers State Hospital that was completely off limits because this place was loaded with it. I remember our middle school, my junior high, the old one, had a whole bunch of this style insulation everywhere. And if you haven't figured it out by now, I'm talking about asbestos. Asbestos. And there's a kind called tremolite. I think that's how you pronounce it, tremolite, which is the dangerous of all dangerous asbestos. Well, lucky for you, boys and girls, if you ever wanted to get lung cancer from asbestos, in 2005 you could buy this. And they found that there were trace elements of that thermalite. Again, I think that's what it's called. It's either thermalite or terminite or something like that. Asbestos in the powder. And it was recalled in 2007. So this fucking thing was around for 2 years. And the lovely thing about asbestos is it's one of those dormant things. It's like a dormant cancer fucking bomb. That shit gets in your lungs and it hangs out. And then 20, 30 years down the road, your lungs are fucked. So I'd be curious to see how many kids fucking get lung cancer or something like that who got to play with this CSI fucking fingerprint set. Asbestos, dude, in 2005. And the reason I'm stressing that is because I remember in the 80s, especially in the 80s, it being a big fucking deal. I mean, it was everywhere. Fucking asbestos this, asbestos that. Can't rent to young people. Don't go in this building. This building is now condemned. The original Nightmare on Elm Street was filmed in an old fucking jail basement that was covered in asbestos. And there's a joke on one of the commentary tracks. They're like, yeah, we're waiting 30, 40 years later to see if any of us are going to die from asbestos poisoning. But yeah, this shit had asbestos in it in 2005. How fucking crazy insane is that? Hold on a second here. My shit just jumped. Let me move this over. I know you guys already saw that. I'm moving things around here. I apologize. All right. So that's number 2. Number 1 was the swing bike. Speaking of swinging, I don't know why I put this one in here. This one's silly. This one's more silly than it is anything else. But the swing wing. Now, this is before our time, obviously. And there have been a number of different versions of something like this over the years. There was one a little bit more closer to the 70s that you would... The idea was this fucking thing would get strapped to your head, and you would spin your neck, and the thing on the top would go, whee! I think there was one that had a loop or something like that you were supposed to catch something with. I can't remember. But this was a swing wing, and I think this is from the 60s. Might have been the early 70s. I can't remember. I doubt it was the 50s. But this definitely has that 60s vibe to it, you know. Swinging. It's the swinging 60s, I guess. I don't know. But the idea is you'd put it on your head and you just fucking bobble your head. You just fucking like a bobblehead. Oh, I'm dizzy just doing that. Can you imagine what the problems were? Kids were hurting their necks. Kids were getting dizzy and falling down. They were fucking smacking each other in the face with these things, and these were like that nylon. That real, like if you were to whoosh somebody with it, you could break skin with those fucking things. I remember the piping on the edges of old cars. We would rip those up, tighten them up, and whack. Oh, god damn, did they hurt. But I can only assume that these had the same material. But the idea was to slap this stupid fucking thing on your head and spin your head around and just make it go wee like a fucking helicopter, you know? Not like the one that depicts that you're a young boy in the 50s with the little propeller. But this fucking thing, man, it's a weapon. It's a weapon to yourself. It's a weapon to others. And I don't like it. I don't like it. Mediocre clarinet player. Before headbanging, there was swing wing. Yes! See, that's the kind of interaction I fucking enjoy. The swing wing. Next on the list, I told you there was going to be a few on here that are very commonly known. In fact, I have kind of a fun story about jarts. We used to just call them lawn darts. In fact, the weird thing is now that I'm older, I know they were actually called jarts. But it always bothered me when people would call them that, because I always thought they were just lawn darts. I'd never seen a box, I suppose. I'd never seen a commercial for them. So whenever someone would call them jarts, I was like, they're lawn darts. No, they're fucking jats, dude. Not to be confused with wet farts. But jarts, lawn darts, if you don't know, they're about, I don't know, a better part of a foot, of a big heavy metal pointy. It was basically a dart that you would throw, but the idea was to fucking whip them up in the air and try to land them in the ring. You'd put the ring somewhere. It was kind of like horseshoes meets cornhole meets darts, and the idea was to fucking throw them up in the air, which, in all honesty, is a wicked fun game. I remember playing with these, and no one ever got hurt. We weren't stupid enough to throw them at each other or anything, but inevitably, one would come down a little too close to somebody, or very close to somebody, and end up in their neck, or their head, or in their belly, or their foot, on their feet. Maybe a couple of them. Maybe everyone threw their darts at once. And this one poor kid became a pincushion, you know? And that would be sad. That would make me sad. Unless, of course, it was Elliot. Elliot, I could do for Elliot to get a couple of these. But I remember one night when I was hanging out at my friend's house, it was me, him, my friend Steve Ashworth, God rest his soul. He passed away many years ago, early to mid 2000s. We were over at Jared's house. He's the cat that gave me the NES, and we were listening to late night radio. But Jared had passed out, and there was a segment coming on about talking about fucking jarts. So we called and we waited on hold. We were like, yeah, we want to talk about the jarts. And they're like, okay, great. We'd love to hear from young people. It's like 2, 3 in the fucking morning, right? And my buddy Jared, who lives there, is fucking out cold. And as soon as they picked up and we were on the air, we woke him up and said, just talk about jarts. And we handed it to him. Fucking, we had the cassette player ready to go. I wish I still had that cassette. But he was like, not even awake. He didn't even know what the fuck was going on. He was like, yeah, it's jarts. And the guy's like, yeah, man, did you ever play with jarts? And he's like, I don't know, what? Jarts. Did you ever play with them? They were dangerous, weren't? And now this guy's talking to him like a 5-year-old called, because he sounded like that. He wasn't even on the fucking planet. And it was like this 2-minute awkward radio. I don't know if you would call it a segment, but he was, like I said, he was still in like a dream state, trying to, and we just kept saying, talk about jarts, lawn darts. And then the guy's like, yeah, so they're dangerous, huh? And he's like, yeah, they hurt people, I guess, I don't know. And then the guy's like, all right, let's listen to somebody else. Take another call. That was a fun fucking memory. Let's see. For Retro's Sake. What a fun name. What's up, Retro Creep? My brother had grandparents' old set. Oh, yeah? That's nice. Every now and again I come across these. And I kind of want them. I kind of want to go. I have a park right behind my house. I kind of want to play with my jarts over there, but that's cool that your brother has your old grandparents' set. That's awesome. That's rad. Keeping the danger alive. Keeping the and that's probably why Gen X is a lot more resilient than a lot. But it's also why all my friends have been dying. So we had jarts. We had stuff like this. We had stuff like, well, actually, I just want to go back to anyone. This has asbestos in it. And it came out in 2005. So, I didn't mean to do that. But next, okay, we're going to talk about Kenner's, what we call the Big Chap now. We call this guy the Big Chap. So the movie Alien comes out. It's a big fucking hit. And Kenner had already had a big hit with toys from Star Wars. And Star Wars had like little creatures and monsters and kind of fun stuff. And I know throughout the years, like RoboCop and Terminator, more so in the 90s, a lot of rated R properties started getting toy lines. But this is 1979 when this fucking thing came out, I believe. 79? Yeah. It was either 78 or 79. I'm pretty damn sure it was 79. Kenner thought it would be a great idea to produce this. Alien, for a little kid, is a fucking terrifying movie. It's a great movie to this day. It still, no matter how many times I watch it, still instills a sense of dread. It's still a sense of fucking claustrophobia. hopelessness. I mean, it's a fantastically crafted film. Never mind movie, it's a fucking film. So Kenna, someone at fucking Kenna said, you know what kids want? They want an H.R. Geiger inspired toy that has penises and vaginas and would scare the fuck out of them. And they made this fucking thing. But you know what? No. Kenna wasn't fucking happy with just making an alien figure. Abso-fucking-lutely not. They not only made the figure, now, please keep in mind, mine are incomplete. They made it this fucking big. This fucking thing is like 18 inches tall. And, I mean, look at the size of the head. Look at the fucking head. I have the head apart because I'm restoring this one over time. And I have different pieces for the mouth to come out. But look at the size of this fucking thing. My penis isn't even this fucking big. But, you know, you got that. There's a little of a JJ down in the bottom. It's 18 inches tall of fucking pure sexual terror. And Kenna said, you know what? I bet your little kids would love to play with that thing. And they sold it. They sold it for like a very short time period. And parents, first of all, parents would buy it. And then they would be like, oh, that's not good. I never understood that part of the whole deal. But parents started seeing this thing, and they're like, why? Why would you market something like, hey, let me go back. Why would you market something like this to fucking children? 18 inches of pure sexual terror. That's what I call this guy. I am slowly restoring this guy. I not only have this one, but I have another body. In fact, this is the body I'm actually going with. This is my spare body. It took me a while to find this, by the way, guys. So please be, be happy that I was able to do this for you. But I have two of the bodies. This one has the fins, and this one has the fins, but this one's mine. I have a couple of sets of tails. I got a whole bunch of extra inside mouth alien tongue pieces. I have the other little, this is the mechanism for inside the head. But this is the part I'm talking about. I got a couple of these. The only thing I don't have, honestly, is the arms and that little cap that would go over the top of this. And the great thing is this glows in the dark. I mean, they weren't fucking around when they put this thing together. Kenna was not fucking playing games. This is the not fucking around crew. And you know what? Maybe whoever was at Kenna at the time designing these purposefully wanted to fucking terrorize children. Where's that other thing that I had in here? But, yeah, I don't know. Even me, as a big fan of the franchise, a big fan of monsters, thinks that was a fucking stupid idea, at least in 1979. I mean, I suppose you're going to start somewhere. And the cats at Kenner in the Kroger building said, you know what? Anything worth doing is worth overdoing. Let's give these kids 18 inches of pure sexual terror. And they did. And it didn't last very long. Off grid, what's going on, man? Thanks for popping in. Let's see. Have one CIB. Must be worth a hefty sum. It really is. Last time I checked, I think just something like this without the arms or the head, I think would go for $100 in decent condition. The individual parts, like this, would have to be restored somewhat. These little dorsals, you can't really see it. These dorsal fucking things, I guess. These have to be locked back in. They on the inside, they used to have like a rubber X or cross holding them all together, and then it was mounting to the inside of the body. But they're there, you know. I need arms, and I need that stupid thing that goes over the head, which is almost impossible to find. Arms, maybe, maybe not. And their arms kind of worked similar to like He-Man legs. It was like a stretchy thing between the two, and the arms were like a ball and socket kind of thing. And I've thought about the whole 3D printing thing, and a few times I checked, no one had a file for them yet. Maybe there are now, Maybe I should just look into that and just get some 3D printed arms. Because I'm not a purist. I'm not a fucking purist. But I would absolutely love to restore this. You can buy replacement, the tops of the head thing. But unfortunately, this one, it did snap off of the body. But that's actually kind of a blessing because now I have to go inside there to repair because there's a trigger right here. And the way this would work is you'd pull the trigger and the mouth would open and the little, you've seen the movie, right? The little, that guy would come out. And that's also chrome like the teeth are. I will chew your face hole. So that's forcing me to go inside this thing. Now, for you purists who are watching this, I'm going to have to cut this joint right here. To pull the two pieces apart, put it together, clamp it, put it back on the fucking body. Bob's your uncle. But I'm waiting until I have the arms at the very least. I do have extra tails. But yeah, I don't know what the fuck Kenna was thinking about when they made that. But I have to admit, I'm fucking glad they did. I am so glad they did. It's one of my favorite pieces. It's one of my favorite pieces. And it was gifted. All that was gifted to me. And I can't say enough how appreciative I am because they're harder to come across, period, in any condition. You can find like a leg here and there. You can find some of the mouthpieces. But honestly, if you're looking for like the tail or this, it was kind of like a frosted over clear thing. It was like black, had kind of like a tint to it, almost like a tinted headlight. Does that make sense? And then the head underneath glows. I have glow-in-the-dark paint specifically for that part for when I restore it. But either way, man, Kenna, thank you for making this, but what the fuck? What the fuck? We're only at number 5. Maybe I did have enough. Let me do this so I can refresh my memory. All right, so this next one here is new to me. Is new to me. Now, throughout, do you have a Robert Cop? I don't. That is, if I were to start like seriously collecting again toys, I'm keeping things very limited and minimal right now, only because of the space we're in. And it turns out my landlord, I don't know if I brought this up last night or yesterday, but my landlord's in the hospital for his 3rd stroke. And it's 50-50 if he's even going to be coming home. So we're starting to, even though here in Massachusetts, it's in our favor as far as how long it takes for us to have to move out. And I don't know who's going to be taking over the house afterwards. I think he has a reverse mortgage. So it would be a bank more than likely. But Massachusetts, fuck, there's people who live in apartments. They'll make one rent payment just to get in and not paying anything for like a year and a half. And it takes forever to evict someone in Mass. And we're not trying to do shit in the furious like that. But I'm not giving rent to a fucking bank. They can suck a cock. They can, hold on. Oh no, where'd the head go? They can suck my alien cock. It's a pee-pee. It's a pee-pee. You know? Oh, I better not let my lady see this. Fuck. Well, anyway. Regardless. So I'm trying to keep things on the minimum. I know I've been talking about it a lot, but when I was going through this, I actually pulled out a lot of my VFD games. My eBay account's going to get a ton of those. I may put them up on Etsy too, so if you want to just click on the link down below, there's going to be some pretty cool. There's a couple of Clico ones, a couple of this, a couple of that, bada beep, bada boop, whatever. But, yeah, I don't know. But I don't have Robert Kopp. I'm trying to keep things down to a minimum right now because we don't know where we're going to be in within the next however many months. And for all I know, we can move into something smaller. Shit around here is expensive. We've been getting away with paying under $2,000 a month here because we've had the lease for so long. And we're actually month to month with this guy. It's so informal. He's a wicked good dude. Takes care of us, loves the girls. Every decision he has made with this house has had them in mind. And if he does pass, it's going to be sad. But, I mean, it's time. He's not a very healthy individual. He's a really big dude, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre big. And he's just unhealthy with his habits and his I should say his eating habits. And he has a few things going on. But now he's had 3 strokes in about a year's time. So I think it's Clayton's for him, and it's going to be sad. But I do not have Robert Kopp, but absolutely I would love to stumble upon one. Next toy. I think it's from the 50s. Never seen it before. Kind of came up. Thought it was interesting. Let's talk about it. And I even wrote down. This thing's called the Bat Masterson. I believe that was wasn't Bat Masterson an actor or a character anyway? Like a cowboy or something like that. Well, yeah, it would make sense. But this right here is a Derringer belt gun. It's a pop pistol. And the idea with this thing is you would hit, I believe, this right here. If you can see my arrow. Yes, you can. And this would pop forward. The barrel would pop forward. Very, from Dusk Till Dawn, Sex Machine. Not quite. His went up. But this would pop out like this. And you'd pull it out. And you had these cartridges that would go into it. And it would, shoot out like a little projectile. But using air. We're going to be seeing a lot of firearm-shaped objects in this list. I promise you that. But the problem with this fucking thing is it would go off, and you would shoot your leg, or it would go off on the side, or you know what I mean. And it just became more troublesome than it was worth. And I don't think the gun itself separated from the belt. Looking at the hinging system, unless there was some kind of a magnet really holding it on, I think this was permanently part of the belt buckle. And if anyone has had one of these, Alan, what's up, buddy? Yeah, James Vanderberg. I was never really a fan of the Dawson Creek or that era of TV, 38 and all that stuff. But it's sad to see when someone that young has to suffer cancer, and fuck cancer. Cancer can suck a big fart right out of my hole. But yeah, rest in peace. Dawson's Creek, 48, yeah. Right? Crazy. Thanks for popping in and bumming everyone out. I'm just fucking with you. I do that all the time. But anyway, I just thought this was pretty interesting. I would love to get my hands on one of these. I don't know if they're expensive. I would imagine they would have to be. Maybe not so much now, but like, you got to remember, a lot of things that become expensive collectibles are generational, centric in a lot of cases. The cars that I grew up in as a daily automobile are now becoming the popular cars that, like the Chevy box cars, the Caprices, and the Cutlasses, the G-bodies, the Cutlass, the Monte Carlo, all that shit. Same with the toys. Although I would say our toys were the best, considering, if you go backwards and then forwards, that little pocket of 80s and early 90s, best fucking toys on the planet. Even going into the 70s, that one little pocket, half the 70s, all the 80s, and half the 90s. Those toys ruled. But as, these people get older, they start dying off, and the love for some of these older ones kind of dwindle, but their rarity starts setting costs. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's still going to be expensive. So, but he had one of those CSI kits. Maybe, you know what? You're right. Maybe he had that. How old would you think he would be in 2005? Nah, he would have been an adult already. I know you're just joking. I was trying to put logic to it, but I just thought this was fucking interesting. You hit the button, the gun pops out. You can pop off one little thing, and then you can smack it back on there. But unfortunately, a lot of boys lost their manhood, apparently. I don't know. I said apparently a lot. Oh my God, this is one that's very well known. Can you guess why this one got fucking recalled, banned, and is dangerous? The Atomic Energy Lab has real radioactive materials inside there. The materials in here, no joke. Some of these materials are actually used in atom bombs. The big one. Boom! The mushroom cloud and all that shit. Somebody said, you know what, there's kids that are going to be aspiring scientists, and they're going to want to melt cities. So why not put some fucking nuclear energy in their fucking hands? Not really nuclear energy, but you know what I'm saying. The materials. Now, when people talk about radioactivity, there is a lot of radioactivity around you. In fact, there is actually a set of like glassware that literally omits radioactivity or radioactive properties. And if you put them under the black light, they go green. They're normally translucent blue or transparent blue, however you want to look at it. I always confuse the two words. So a little bit of the sun, the air, the light, everything around us has some kind of, radio. It's like the fucking force, between land and sea and ship and woo, all that shit. But this was straight up radioactive material. Stuff that could be ingested, stuff that gets on your skin. Your skin is a sponge, it absorbs things. Have you ever been in the shower where someone has what they call heavy water? And after like 2 minutes of being in there, you can almost taste the water? It's because your body's sucking in the moisture. It's sucking it in. Your skin can absorb shit. And it's fucking dangerous to play with a lot of these things. But you know what? They said, let's give little Billy one of these. Let's aspire him to create chaos. Or maybe come up with a cure or something. But I can almost guarantee you every fucking kid that had this probably lost their hair, lost all their teeth. I didn't have one. I just lost it because I have bad genes and no money. Yeah, I even in the 50s, I can't imagine somebody saying, we said the same thing about this guy. I can't imagine anyone saying that this was a good idea for children. 18 inches of pure sexual terror. But I can't imagine even in the 50s someone going, yeah, let's put the same ingredients we make bombs out of in a kit for kids to fucking play with. I don't get it. Let me knock that one off the list. This next one you guys may remember. I think this one was in let's see, what year did I write down? I didn't. I want to say this next one's early 90s. And there was this phenomenon. There was this weird phenomenon. The very first true toy must-have that created chaos, created violence, created the whole Black Friday fucking nightmare when it came to toys and everything. And I know a lot of you Gen X cats, hey, what's up, Potion? Looks like it would shock you. Yeah, I suppose some of it would. It's mostly just chemicals and things to mix with, honestly. I don't think there was much electricity involved in this one at all. But there are toys, absolutely, that were like that. But going on, moving forward here, there was this one little doll. Elmo, no, but you're very close. We're going a few more years before that. The Cabbage Patch dolls. Now, this wasn't banned? What are you talking about? Well, this particular one was. This one came out later on in the Cabbage Patch dolls' life. I want to say right when the decade was turning into the 90s, maybe even into the 90s. I don't really truly remember exactly. I want to say 90, 91. But the Cabbage Patch dolls were starting to decline. And they figured it's because it's just a boring doll. And now things are, So someone had the bright idea to take a doll and put two cogs in it, two gears with motors, with a thing. And the idea was that you could put these plastic French fries or some kind of other thing that came with the toy in the fucking mouth. Furby was the next big one, absolutely. Barney, maybe not so much, maybe, I don't know. Barney was long after my time, bud. Like my kids were into Barney, my oldest son. He was born in 94, my senior year in high school. But he was big into Barney. But this fucking thing, what it would do is it would take it and it would feed it into the mouth. The problem with this toy and the reason it got recalled is because there was no mechanism inside to stop it once it got going. I think, if I remember correctly, it detected something in there and would just go. And as soon as it dispersed it, and I don't remember how they got rid of it. It might have just fallen into like a little tray behind the doll. I didn't look into that. I probably should have, and I apologize for that. My lack of due diligence. But what ended up happening was kids would put their fucking finger in there. And it wouldn't stop. And it would keep taking the fucking finger. In some cases, it actually fucked up the finger. But more commonly, little girls' hair would get caught in there. And there was truly no way to stop it once something was in there, unless, of course, you broke it or pulled the batteries out. I mean, how long does it take to get batteries out? You get a fucking screwdriver and go do the things, and even if it's a soft good, you're still going to rip the fucking clothes off and open up the thing, and there's a little box in there, and that usually has a fucking screwdriver. Meanwhile, your fucking kid's getting scalped like like a white guy in the early days of the country, rightfully so in a lot of cases. They're getting fucked up, and kids were going to the hospital left and right because of this. And guys, you know me, I have to go there. I have to go there. There had to have been at least that one person, that one kid, or that one father when no one was home, that thought maybe it was just like a squishing motion. Well, then again, if you're able to fit it in there, then you don't really have much to go with. But yeah, no, this was a really bad fucking idea. All they had to do is put some kind of a kill mechanism, maybe like twist the head, or have it detect that it's not a solid object, you know. That one dude, yeah, violation, absolutely. Let's see, fingers missing for sure, yeah, potion, absolutely. Furby was a really good. I actually managed the friendlies at the time. That was the late 90s, wasn't it? When Furbies were a big deal. And I remember this one girl coming in, and she's like, my mom got me a Furby. And mom looks like she just went to war for the fucking thing. Craziness that some of these toys will do. And it's not even the toys themselves. It's the parents wanting to over-please their children. They can't have any upsetting fucking situations. If they don't get this toy, their life will never be good. Fuck out of here. Learning disappointment is actually good. It's actually very good for a child in their formative years. They need to learn those things. They need to learn that not everything comes to them. They need to learn that not everything's going to go their way. And more importantly, they need to learn that once they have a situation that's not going their way, that's creating a real strong sense of feels, whether it be anger, sadness, depression, they need to learn to fucking deal with it. They need to learn to use skills to combat it and come back to earth, you know? I'm mad because I can't buy a Les Paul right now. But you know what? There will be a time where I have $3,000. It'll be the right time, and I will eventually get it. Or I can just sit here and get mad and have a temper tantrum, and blah, 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 you know? But the Furby thing and the fucking... I mean, the Cabbage Patch doll... Seriously, look up news ads if you haven't seen it. From the initial launch of the Cabbage Patch doll, which I think was 82-ish. It was either 82 or 84. I can't remember. But they were grown women knocking children over and taking them from them in the store. Fucking cunts. Fucking hate moms sometimes. Some of these over fucking do it moms. Can't stand them. But yeah, the doll has butthole too. Oh yeah. Did it? It might have. Maybe that's where the food went. There were dolls that pooped and peed. We don't have those on the list, though. I should have had those on the list. Let's see. This claimed a couple of fingers. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Let's see. Sounds like something Dr. Loomis was said. There's simply no mechanism aside. It simply will not stop. I'll try to come up with something. To the tune of "Evil has come to your town, your little town, sheriff." A hungry doll has come to your home. You can either help me to stop it or watch your kid lose their genitals. Or get scalped. Good explaining that one to the doctor. You know what? I bet you doctors are just, at this point, they're like, whatever. I'll tell you a fucking gross doctor story. My buddy, actually, it was a friend of my buddy's. When we were younger, he was halfway through med school. And he worked at this one ER. And he told me the story, and for years I thought it was like an urban tall tale. I'll take it with a grain of salt. You should as well. But he said this one lady came in complaining of chest, stomach cramps, gut pain. And they took an x-ray, and they found a large mass. So they operated right away. And what they discovered was that this lady, obviously she was going through some kind of a psychological crisis, wanted a child really bad. So what she did was she inserted a Danish hen into her womb. Literally not in the uterus, obviously, but I'm trying to stay away from some. Oh, fuck it, I've already talked about penises and shit. Jammed her up her vajayjay, her oh yang, and, or how about coos? We'll call it the coos. And closed herself up. And it festered and rotted. She was hoping it would turn into a baby. I don't know. Good luck explaining that one. Wise words. Yeah, hey, I appreciate that, man. But yeah, this thing, on the onset, I saw this. I remember the commercials. And I remember thinking to myself, that better have like a fucking fail stop in it. Or people are going to lose their fingertips and shit like that. And it wouldn't be the fingers themselves that would get broken. What would happen is the finger would get jammed in there, and there's only so far it can go with these gears. And the gears would start fucking peeling. Start peeling the skin off of it, man. I hope she got help. It's my understanding that she did. It's my understanding she did. She did a full recovery as far as the infection. What ended up happening was she started getting infections and shit inside. And they were able to clean it out and get her to where she needed to be. But, yeah, that is a fucking crazy-ass story. But enough about fucking toys that chew up your stuff. What is next? What is next? All right, so throughout the years, toy companies have, and this one's very special compared to other ones, but what's in front of you is an easy bake oven. And this one, I wrote down the year on purpose because this rendition of it came out in 2006. What the fuck? What the fuck? Hold on. I hit something, my screen has disappeared. So over the years, companies have made heat-up toys. The Thing Maker, if you know what that is. I love the Thing Maker. I want one of those so bad. There was a time where you could buy a small little vacuum form machine. It was basically a hot plate with a piece of plastic or styrene, and you can make like little bucks of stuff. You know what a vacuum form is, right? Creepy crawlers. We do that once in a while on this channel. I have a creepy crawler machine right now that has safety features. And girls got this thing called the Easy Bake Oven. I like the original Easy Bake Oven. I would like to restore one of those and fucking pinstripe it. Give it a real 50s flair with some just classy little fucking corner appointments and maybe do some Kafka style with the fucking loops. I actually got to hang out with that guy a handful of times. He was in Arizona when I lived out there. Steve Kafka. Wonderful artist. Got to watch him work on, I have a Von Dutch tattoo right here. The flying eyeball. I got to put a tiny little piece on it. It was fucking wonderful. I doubt it's still there, but he was restoring Von Dutch's bust. If you don't know who Von Dutch is, classic, like legend in the hot rod as far as like pinstriping and car painting and car culture itself. Hot rods, rat rods, that kind of thing. Tea buckets and fucking gassers, stuff like that. But over the years, we had all these heat toys. You could either fucking bake a cake with a light bulb, or you can melt plastic and form it into things. But the Easy Bake Oven is one of those things that just keep getting revamped over and over and over again. And though each iteration of these toys are equally as dangerous, they implement some kind of a safety feature. Like the light bulb's not as hot anymore. And, at one point they actually had like a heating plate, a heating element. This one in particular is kind of an anomaly, because not only did you have the heating plates on the inside, but the little things on the top would get really hot as well. And a lot of kids, and there's pictures you could find. I was going to put one of those pictures on here, but even though it's in the news, it had a little kid's face on it, and I didn't have time to block it off, so I just wanted to leave that alone. But there's a picture from a news broadcast of this little kid whose hand got stuck in that little door. Well, it was on. And the fire department's there. Obviously it was unplugged at this point. She did have burns. But the picture is of the fire department holding her hands up and trying to cut her hand out of this fucking thing. I've never seen anything like it. When we were looking at my Easy Bake Oven, my creepy crawler machine, there's like this little plastic door that comes down. that will only go away when it's cool enough, and it's activated by these metal bands that expand and contract. And when the bands heat up, it drops this door, and when it cools off slowly, it opens it up. Yeah, you can still put your hand in there, and they did try to do something similar to that with this, but again, in another news article I was watching while researching these, this little girl, she kept opening it up and putting her fucking hand in there. So they ended up redoing it again. They made like this weird thing that had like this, it almost looked like the OCC building, the Orange County Chopper building with that weird, design. And they made it a lot safer. But this one fucking in particular, for some reason, caused so many problems. Kids were getting their hands stuck in it. And now you got these heat plates that are cooking your child's hand. So, I don't know. That's why I decided to grab this one versus the vacuum form or the thing maker or the, creepy crawlers. Actually, creepy crawlers were like just one little box of plates to a thing called the thing maker, if I remember correctly. Because they had superheroes, they had flowers, they had all kinds of, and they all had their own like little name. Pretty cool. In the 60s anyway, and the 70s. But it also works in the bathtub. Violation, you're full of them today, huh? Fuck yeah, it does. You know what? That's the first thing you should do. You should plug it in over your sink and fill the sink up full of water. And if your hand gets stuck in there, just dip it in there right away. So it'll instantly cool your hand off. Not responsible if anyone does that after hearing me. That's a joke. It's dangerous. Don't fucking do that. All right, this next one, I'm going to say the word. And I want you to, well, obviously by the time I show it to you, your comments won't even be there yet. But when I say the word flubber, the first thing that probably came to your mind was a green blob that caused problems around a certain comedian. But we're not going to talk about that flubber. We're going to talk about this fucking flubber. Which, yes, in a roundabout way is the same thing. So, this flubber was made in response to The Absent-Minded Professor, I believe it was called. And that there was going to be a secret called Flubber 2 or something like that. And the one that we got in the 90s, I think it was, with Robin Williams, was actually a remake of this kind of situation. But they came out with their own kind of like rubber. It was like a cross between a rubber bouncing ball and goo. Or gack, or slime, Mattel slime. I love the smell of that shit. I miss Mattel slime. And slime toys. Oh my, maybe that's what we'll do next. Slime toys, yes. Yes! I'm writing that down. Slime toys. Can never go wrong with slime toys. I have a couple of them myself. One of my favorite is one of the versions of the Scooby-Doo Mystery Mansion. But we'll get to that when we get to that. But this was the same idea. It was like a semi-rigid, semi-globule product that would still bounce in theory, I suppose. It was to compete with Silly Putty. I don't know what the fuck they made this out of, but it made people sick. It gave them rashes. In some cases, it created a real problem with the skin where it was breaking open and causing infection and stuff like that. This flubber here fucked up a lot of people. Like, not too bad, enough to be like, that's fucked up. That's what you should have done a little bit more research, Borrow some of the corporate children and test it on them, your boss's kids. If they're willing to let this go out to let other kids get hurt, they'll let their kids test it for them, won't they? I'm winking if you can't see me in this little box. But I put this one on here because, first of all, I never realized the movie Flubber was kind of an offshoot of something like a remake, pretty much. And I have to be honest with you, I've never seen it. I had no desire to see it. There are some Robin Williams performances that you could just tell from the onset. Like Jumanji. Never seen Jumanji. He's in that, right? I almost didn't watch Night at the Museum because of what I saw. I love Robin Williams, but there's only, like with Adam Sandler and Jim Carrey, there's only so much of that one shtick that person does that I can stomach. It's like fucking 8 movies in and Adam Sandler's still doing baby talk, you know? Fucking 5 movies in and Jim Carrey's, alrighty then! All right, I get it. It was funny. It's getting old. My fucking daughter does it all the time. She'll make me laugh with a joke, and then she won't let the fucking joke go for like a year. And after a while, I just gonna be like, honey, shut the fuck up. That was funny the 50th time you said it. But I don't know. Don't really have much more to say about Flubber other than, again, hopefully kids didn't use it for, you gotta think of these things. You gotta think of these things because these kids might be early adolescents. They're starting to, Okay, this one bothered me a little bit. This one's called the Splash Off Water Rocket, I think. Splash Off. Very specific. I remember going down to my local convenience store, and every year, at the summertime, on the little rack, the peg rack for the little cheap toys that would be on the card, there would always be the red transparent rocket with white and a little pump. Right? And you would do that, and then you would pull the thing back, and it would go flying up in the air. Well, for some reason, this one in particular, I don't know if it was the design of the shaft thing, the actual thing creating the pressure inside the rocket, or what. Bears Fan Goomba, what's up, buddy? We'll recap all this for anyone coming in later. Not to the extent that we have already spoken about it, of course, but I put this one on here because this specific one, and I can't remember who made it, got recalled. It got taken off the shelf because it would build up so much pressure that the thing would explode. And of course, shards would go into kids' eyes and faces and all kinds of just not good things, real, I'm having a bad day kind of scenario. And the reason I put it on there again is because every summer, and probably even to this day, I bet you once spring comes around, I go to any store that has one of those little toy racks, I bet you we'll find that little red and white one with the fucking bicycle pump looking thing. And what it was is you'd slide the thing on there, and then you doop, and it would go after you gave it a little bit of pressure. But for some reason, this one I don't really have much to say other than I'm disappointed because these rockets were some of my favorite toys ever. Again, the one I'm describing, the hand pump and all that. I've never seen this particular one. I like how they have the little vortex inside there. But yeah, these ones in particular would just gather up way too much pressure. And you got to figure these things are formed by gluing joints together. After a while, the glue just probably just... Or maybe it didn't, and that was the problem. And it would fucking explode all over the place. Taking out eyeballs and shit like that. Breaking kids' glasses. Yeah, that's all I want to say about that. This next one, though. This next one is fucking heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. To this day. To this day. Because I remember when it first came out, I ran and got it. And it was because of what this line was going to become. You like this? You like the build-up? It was because what this line was going to be. There was an ad that came out for it. And it showed all the conceptual stuff that they were planning on doing. And it was a toy line called Max FX. And the story behind this, and there was like a van that you could get for it. The whole idea behind this is 80 slashes were really big. I think this was 1987-ish by Matchbox. I think it says it on there somewhere. It's all blurry on my... That looks like a Matchbox logo. But long story short, the idea behind this was you were going to have this guy called Max FX, right? He was his own fucking dude. But his job was he created monsters for the movie industry. And the van was actually the mobile studio, with cameras and like a table work set, if I remember correctly. And like fake tools for, what the effects guys do. So the idea was you were going to have this Max effects guy. And you were going to be able to buy other characters to create using these dolls, these action figures. And I don't know if you were going to have a new guy with every different monster, or if you were going to buy this initial set with Max Effects, which in this case was Freddy Krueger. And I'm sad to say, guys, this is the only one that released. I don't remember if the van released or not. I remember seeing a lot of pictures of it. I'm pretty sure it did. But I could be wrong on that, so correct me in the comments. Or in the chat if you're in the chat right now, live with me. But they had a really rad Jason Voorhees, the mask and everything. They had the Universal monsters, and I think they had a couple of monsters of their own that they had lined up. And it was literally going to be... See, when I was a little kid, horror was like my thing. I loved haunted houses. I loved gore, slashers, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. These were like my staples. And I wanted to be an effects makeup artist growing up. But I had sensible parents that kept saying, it's unrealistic. Focus on a real career. But I would still do it at home. I would still do it at home here and there. My sister would get mad because I'd steal her makeup, and I was too embarrassed to go buy makeup myself at CVS or Woolworths or Brooks Pharmacy, wherever you buy your fucking makeup. And I saw this toy line. I was about 7, maybe 8. Like, it's perfect. It's an action figure. It's horror characters that I love that have no toys yet, really. And it's about creating effects monster makeup. It was like everything I ever loved, all in one thing. The only thing it needed was this cocksucker. Or one they're like. But alas, parents saw this and were like, you know what? A toy that has, like serial killers, even though they're fictitious, I don't know if that's pretty cool. They probably should have came out more with the Universal Monster ones first. But by 1987, it wasn't all that hip. It wasn't all that hip anymore. There was that resurgence of the Universal style monsters in the 60s and 70s. And even into the early 80s, there was the Remco mini monsters, which I have 3 of. I have Frankenstein's monster, I got Dracula, and I have the Phantom. And there was 3 others. There was the Wolfman, there was the Gillman, Creature from the Black Lagoon. 2 of them. And there was 2 different ones. One that was darker green that didn't glow, one that was lighter green that did glow. And it had like a little play set that was a vinyl thing with the cardboard. And one of my favorite toy lines of all time. I used to have them all. The only thing I never had was there's this thing called the Energizer, I think it was called. It was basically a lab bed that would have a light bulb in it, and it would make the glowing heads glow, whatever. But if they had started with something like that, this might have taken off a little bit better, and they probably could have eased parents into purchasing this kind of a thing. I kind of wish somebody would pick this back up for the collector market today. And maybe someone has. I don't know. I didn't really look into it that much. But I remember running to Child World on Route 1 in Saugus, Massachusetts. Some places it was called Panda Castle or Panda Palace. Either way, they were the exact same company, just depending on where you lived, it was called something different. Ours was called Child World. The building looked like a castle. There was a giant panda in the commercials, fucking roller skating all over the place. Child World, get your sister's toys. Child World, get lost, get kidnapped. All that shit. It was a big store. Easy to get lost in. But I kind of wish someone would have picked this fucking thing up and went with it, because this right here could have gone down as my very favorite toy line of all time. But unfortunately, it never happened. They put this one out, maybe that van, if I recall correctly, and parents were like, nope. So the company Matchbox said, nope. And that makes little Chris sad and older Chris mad. These toys would test your mortality, but that was the fun. Yeah, dude. Think about it. Think about that statement you just said. Think about every fucking bicycle ramp you ever made with a couple of 2x4s, a fucking half log, and a couple of rocks. And you just kept making it bigger and bigger. And inevitably it would fall apart while somebody was going off of it. Somebody would lose a fucking tooth or break an arm or something like that. That was us growing up, doing dangerous shit, and somehow fucking, the weakest of us all didn't make it, and there weren't that many of those. So, regardless, Max Effects would have been, in my opinion, the greatest toy line of all time. And I implore, please, somebody pick this up. And if you do, because of me, send them to me for review, kind of like you do like Pixel Dan and all those guys. My very first endorsement deal. Max X effects line. In fact, I might write Matchbox. And see if maybe Super 7 can buy it. You know? I don't know. All right, what's next? Oh, this fucking thing. This one blew my mind a little bit. Let's see. Off-Grid says, the Jason one looks cool. Shame they didn't make it. Did you just go look it up, dude? There's like a commercial that shows them all. It's fucking awesome. I wonder if someone has those in their collection. I bet you someone does. I'm going to look that up. You need to set the ramp enough to jump over your buddy laying down. Oh, the girls. The girls we lined up to impress. And then they would try to do it on their Huffy, what was the pink Huffy with the big bike? Sweet Thunder? Their Sweet Thunder? Ah, yeah. I had to repair many a fucking chains on Sweet Thunders over the years. Always got a little kiss on the cheek. But this thing here, what is it called? The Austin something pistol. Does that say Magic pistol? Yeah. I wasn't familiar with this one, so please forgive me. I wrote it down, but I was doing a few other things, so I have no idea what that second word is. But I'm going to say it says Magic. The Austin Magic pistol. And what made this one, what set this one apart was a lot of toys like this that would shoot ping pong balls or something like that would use air pressure, right? You would build up the air pressure either with like Nerf. Nerf is a fucking perfect example of this type of toy done proper and successfully. And before we get into what made this one recalled and very dangerous, in most states, if you look at the definition of what a firearm is, at its core, it basically has two elements: a gas pushing a projectile. Air is a gas. So technically, in some states, if you were to commit a crime with it, hurt somebody or kill them with, say, a pellet gun, you could be charged as if you used an actual firearm. So knowing that, moving forward on this fucking thing, this didn't just use air. It came with, did I write it down? Calcium carbonate. Again, I wrote it down. And it was like a flint powder that when mixed with water would create like a little, it was reactive. It was explosive. And you would mix the two inside this thing and it would create a boom and it would push the ping pong ball out. And kids reported seeing flames coming out of the fucking thing. And I'm sure some of these blew up in someone's hand, but they weren't so much concerned about the toy or the projectile, which in this case are ping pong balls. But they were more concerned about this little can here of the calcium carbide. Carbonite? It's either carbide or carbonite. I think it's carbide. I'm not a chemical guy, so I don't know. If you mix this can with water, that thing would go. It's very violently reactive to fluid, water. And that was the problem. Kids would put it on and they would pour water on it and stuff like that. It was very dangerous. It was really, and if you look at the aesthetics, again, going back to that kit, let's go back to it. With the radioactive shit, I mean, it's from the 50s, right? And they either just didn't know better or they didn't give a fuck. But it was all in this can right here. This thing, I can't imagine it wouldn't have taken hands off. You know what I mean? Fucking crazy, some of the shit. Now, we can sit there and talk about jarts. We can sit there and talk about what's next. Is it the one I'm thinking it is? I believe it is. Yes. Because I had one as a kid and I fucking loved it. My landlord gave it to me. Did I not tell you there was going to be firearm-shaped things throughout this whole list? But yeah, I just can't imagine, even in the 50s, someone saying, let's give violently reactive chemical to children. And it reacts to something that's as common as everything. Your body is made up of mostly water. This planet is mostly water. The air has water in it. Let's give this to kids so they can blow shit up, which I would have been awesome with, but whatever. This next one is infamous, and unfortunately, as a result of this one, and like some of these other toys, but more so this one, it became a big news item, and there were children who were killed as a result of having one of these because of mistaken identity. And I give you EnterTech! This was a wave of water pistols, water guns, that had a powerful motor in them. And I remember shooting it on my tongue, and it hurt. But it wasn't the pressure. It wasn't the motors. It wasn't the fact that you're mixing water with electricity. No. All that was safe. These were well built. They were safe to play with, and they were safe. And I mean, unless, of course, you're point blank range in some kid's eyeball. Overall, EnterTech squirt guns were safe. This one right here, I always wanted this fucker right here. My friend had the Uzi. I had this one, except mine was Rambo branded. That was fucking rad. But what happened with these, let me see if the comments say anything about it. You need to set the ramp. Okay, we already got through that. The problem with these weapons are they looked like real weapons. And if I recall correctly, there was a 13-year-old boy at a park playing with his friends. Somebody made a phone call. The cop showed up, thought it was a real firearm, and the child was fired upon and died. He was deceased on the scene. So this one company here, in my understanding, EnterTech, I don't remember who actually owned the company EnterTech. It was like an off-brand from a big brand, like Max Effects was a Matchbox toy. They ended up making them look colorful, very bright colors. And I believe that's where that all started, the Super Soaker colors, so to speak. You know, putting red tips on the end of... I think that's what they started doing, was putting the red tips on it, but the damage had already been done. So they rebranded them, I think, and they made them like white and bright green and bright pink all the way throughout the whole mold. And they saved the brand somewhat, but unfortunately these were just too real looking. They were a good-sized toy, and as a result, children were dying. I don't know how many. I know it was more than just that one, but I remember that one toy specifically, that one news article, because my dad even looked at me and said, "You have an EnterTech, right?" And I said, "Yeah, there's this guy across the street. The house that we had, it was kind of a weird situation. We rented it, and he was one of those guys that fell for the 80s real estate boom, and then it crashed on him, and he sold us the house dirt cheap. But he is the one who bought it for me for my birthday or something like that. He was a gunsmith. That's what he did as a trade. And he was really into firearms, like responsibly. My dad was never a big fan of firearms. Never a big fan. He wasn't a hippie or anything like that. You might even say he was conservative, but he wasn't really. He was a minister for the Church of Christ, but he wasn't so against them that I couldn't have toys. But he was concerned. He's like, "Yeah, don't go out there with that too often, all right? Don't fuck around. I know the cops around here aren't going to be stupid enough to fall for that, but just don't." And I didn't. So it's a sad story to a really cool toy line, but you know what? It just makes sense. It makes sense. And you know what? In retrospect, I am pro firearm. I don't own any. I have a lot of mental health issues. And here's a little secret. My very first attempt to puncture my ticket was with my Kimba. And how do you say it? Fired out of battery, meaning the firing pin didn't center on the primer. It hit the ring instead. It was cocked. It loaded cocked. And by that point, someone come in and found me and whatever. I am Second Amendment kind of guy, but I also believe that stuff like this would be irresponsible to give to children without the very least a little discussion about the seriousness. I believe that firearms are good. I believe in an armed society is a polite society, but you can't just be a dickhead that owns a firearm. There's a lot of education that has to come with it before you even get your license. You need to be educated on the laws, on the functionality, everything from cleaning, loading, everything, discharging the weapon, and of course, safe storage. I remember my daughters, my wife was worried. I didn't realize we were going to go into a political discussion about the Second Amendment, but and I'm okay with people who are against it. I really am. Just don't fucking come to me when you're in danger. Well, because I don't own one. But when my daughters are becoming of age, I owned a few, out in Arizona, and my wife was nervous. She wasn't a fan of them. But we lived in the middle of nowhere, Buckeye, Arizona. Literally the middle of nowhere. And she was nervous being home alone at night, so I took her out. We shot it and all that. But my daughters were starting to get old enough to be, if they were to by accidentally bump into it, what would happen? So I took all the mystery out of it. I cleared the weapon, opened it up and everything. I let them hold it. I took them to the range. I showed them what it could do, and I taught them without them actually using it as a functioning thing. I mean, I got them to hold it so they could feel the weight, but they understood that if you found something like that, you don't fucking touch it, and you go get an adult that you can trust. It's all about education, and I think a lot of parents should do that with their children, even if they're anti-weapon, because there are a lot of parents that aren't anti-weapon. And there are those scenarios where the kids find it in dad's closet because dad's a fucking idiot. But I don't think it's responsible to create toys like this. It was the 80s. I get it. And I loved mine. But I'm glad we went the direction we did. We don't glorify using these in the way that we used to. So, there's my little slice on that if you guys are ever wondering. Sad story to a really cool toy. It is what it is. Oh, we're finally at the last one. And I told you I had two of these band toys. Let's recap this whole thing. Let's recap it. Let's go all the way back to the beginning, and then I'll show you the last one. I love the suspense. So the first one we talked about was the swing bike. It had two sets of fucking goosenecks, so to speak. It had two sets of forks. The rear wheels would spin, the front wheels would spin, and everyone had a good time until they broke their fucking jawbone. The CSI fingerprint had asbestos, the worst kind. This thing, it was a pain in the neck, and you got to whip your friends in the face with it. Jarts, if you were lucky, your friend caught one in the neck, and you all laughed at him. An 18-inch monster figure in 1979 that had penises and vaginas all over it. And it was terrifying. Bad idea. One of my favorite figures of all time. A pistol attached to a gun belt that actually shot a pop kind of thing, but it wouldn't activate properly, and kids were shooting themselves in the nuts and in the leg. Radioactive material. A chewing toy? Anyone? Kids' hands were getting stuck in this variation of Easy Bake Oven. Fire departments had to be called. The top got hot, the burners. Bad juju. Gave everyone fucking rashes. Exploded. Never happened because parents were pissed off that serial killers were glorified as toys. Came with explosive, reactive fucking material. And unfortunately caused the death of children. It was an irresponsible toy. I wish my dad bought two and didn't open one of them. I had a small fortune right now. The alien. Yeah, I know, dude. Or maybe not, dude. I don't know. I can't tell from you. Thanks for popping in, by the way. And last but not least, you've seen it on the channel so many times. The E.T. finger light. Ha ha! It's my favorite. I got this Christmas morning, 1982. This isn't that one I got, but this is one of my grail pieces that I hold near and dear to my heart. The fact that I own this, the fact that I'm holding it in my hand, makes me feel so fucking happy. I love this object so much. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's what it is. Maybe because I'm an ET whore. But these were recalled and taken off the shelf for one very specific reason. You seeing a pattern here? Are you seeing a pattern here? It's funny. Both of these came from the same friend. This one a gift. This one I purchased. At a steep discount, by the way. You found it dirt cheap? I bought it dirt cheap. It was his offer. Yeah, it looked too much like a prick. It looked too much like a prick. I think it was one of those things that they just made real quick for the holidays. Kind of like when we were talking about the ET hamper, which is my next grail item, besides a few other toys and guitars. But like if you were to say one toy that's all you can ever have again before you die, it would be the ET hamper. The ET hamper, absolutely. Uncracked, at least the head would have to be nice. The back can look a little fucked up. But the front has to look cool. But yeah, this thing didn't go off too well. I remember when I was a kid, I would put my finger in this thing, and my sister, my mom would giggle, and people would make like these little comments. I mean, you gotta remember, what is it, 1982? I was 7, so 87. I was more like 12 back then. We were talking about a different toy back then. But either way, I'm 7 years old. And I'm walking around with a fucking penis on my finger, touching everybody. Ouch! Ouch! And God forbid you got a cut, right? They took this off there was a company called Knickerbocker. They took it off the shelves real quick, and they replaced it with this creepy hand thing that you could get. And I remember thinking that was so ugly. I don't like that. I don't like that. That gives me funny feelings that I don't want to have. Sniff the finger, absolutely. It's like a fine Cuban cigar rolling the thighs of fucking beautiful women. What movie is that? I swear to fuck. If any of you could tell me what I was referencing there, and it might not be verbatim, I will fucking give you one of the last 2 sets of thumb buddies for your Intellivision. I'll give it to you. But you can't look it up. Don't look it up. Be honest. Please. God will know. And I will know. What was I referencing there with the cigars? I mean, I guess it could be a number of things. That's kind of unfair. But if someone puts down the movie that I'm thinking in my head, and you know what? I'll write it down right now. So in case someone says it before we sign off. I'm going to write it really big. All right, I have it written big. If anyone fucking puts that into the chat, as long as you're in the United States anyway, I can't ship overseas. I don't even have the money to ship that to you, but I'll get it to you. Don't worry about that. But yeah, this is the very last item on the list, number 15, the ET finger light. I actually was going to do toy lines, like action figure lines, but there aren't that many. I was going to do a tier list, but I was like, I don't want to do fucking... Not the devil's advocate. I will break it down even more that it was intended for young people. The movie was intended for young people. It was intended for young people. And as I give more, you know, once I get to my 5th hint, nobody wins. That's one hint. It was for young people. I'll even give you a second one. It was a Disney movie. Believe it or not. But yeah, there you go, guys. 15 toys that were either recalled, taken off the shelf for whatever offensive or whatever reason, or just things that were just outright fucking dangerous. Maybe they didn't care about kids back then. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they're just like, fuck them. Let them get radioactive. I don't know. President Predicto, what do you think? Do you think toy companies just wanted to murder children, much like Colonel Cochran?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. But that's it, guys. Unless you guys have anything else to talk about, I'll give you a few more minutes to figure out what I'm talking about. as far as the movie's concerned. What were we playing earlier? Fucking hey, man, love that chick. No clue what movie. You guys want me just to tell you? You want me just to tell you? I'll tell you what, because no one could figure it out. I only have 2 of those sets left. Go down into my Etsy shop and take them off my hands, please. Somebody purchased one a couple of days ago, and that's been in the post office hands since yesterday. Yesterday or the day before, I can't remember. I walked it down myself. I've been having trouble getting the post office over here. It's so fucking weird. I mean, it's not like it's the snow. We cleared out all the things. Mail's just been weird this whole week. Maybe the snow fucked it all up. I don't know. But I had to go for a walk, so I brought it with me and went downtown. But in all honesty, if you guys would honestly go down there and just grab them, you know, I know it's $40, but I really make almost nothing out of it. And I could use like the $20 that I'll get for both of them being sold. To get some materials. I actually do need materials to finish my hide business. I'm kind of at a stop because I ran out of silicone. I thought I was going to be able to get a set. So if there's anything in my Etsy shop that you really are interested in, I'm also going to be putting the VFD games up there when I get done with this. I know I've been saying that for like 2 weeks, but we're going to put like Alien Chase on there and a couple other really rad games. And there's this one that people are selling for like $150. I'm going to put up there for $75. I'm going to fucking undercut everybody. I'm going to undercut every motherfucker because I don't think they really have that value. But I could use the money, and I'm not going to gouge. That's just how it works. All right, I'm gonna count down. If I don't see the name of the movie by the time I say it, I apologize if the delay fucked it up. I'm going to say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The movie is called Something Wicked This Way Comes. It's a Ray Bradbury story that was adapted for Disney. Watch it. If you've never seen it, watch it and be like, this was a fucking Disney movie? Early 80s Disney movies were terrifying. In fact, early 80s Disney was terrifying. Alien Encounters, guys. Or was that more 90s? I've never got to see Alien Encounters, but I hear that was fucking terrifying. Like they had aliens breathing in your neck and shit. Video tomorrow? What do you mean video tomorrow? Are you trying to ask me what the video will be? You know what? Fridays are tough. There may not be a video tomorrow, and I think I know what you're referencing. The Friday the 13th, which technically it's Friday the 13th for you already, isn't it? The Australian Jasons should be out there fucking hacking up kids left and right. But the movie was called Something Wicked This Way Comes, and it's your basic needful things story. Dude comes to town, grants your wishes at a fucking deadly price, your soul. And there's this one guy whose dream was to be with, his dream was to win the lottery. And he did. He won the numbers. Like his number came up. So he got a couple $100 or whatever it was. And then the guy pulls out a cigar. He's like, rolled on the thighs of Cuban women or something to that effect. Like I said, I kind of paraphrased it. But he got it, and then he gets on the Ferris wheel with a beautiful woman. I'll let you watch the movie to figure out what happens from there. But his dream was to win the little lottery ticket thing. And the movie is set back in the 40s, I think. I think it's set in the 40s. Jason Robard is in it. There's this really rad character actor that's in it, that's in everything. He's the lightning rod man. Wonderful story. Ray Bradbury was an incredible author. They had a wonderful series on HBO called the Ray Bradbury Theater. I love Ray Bradbury. I believe Jerry Goldsmith did the music for it, so you know it's really got that 80s good feel kind of thing going on. It's a fantastic movie if you've never seen it. Something Wicked This Way Comes. Not the easiest to come across. In fact, I don't even think Disney Plus has it. Let me look. Last time I checked, Disney Plus didn't have it. Do I even have Disney Plus on here? I know we have it, but I don't. My lady gets it. I just benefit from it. I would never fucking. I hate subscriptions, but yeah. Let me see. Let me go into my account and let me find Bluey. Oh, it is. Oh my God, it is on there now. All right, let me show you the screen so you know the movie I'm talking about. I mean, obviously, if you just look at the fucking, just look it up, you'll find the fucking title. But that movie right there, the guy who does Lincoln commercials, that's him. Or at least he used to do Lincoln commercials a long time ago, actually. But fantastic movie. It fucking rules. You guys fucking rule. I loved every moment of this fucking stream. This stream was so fun. You know what I did about 20 minutes before the stream? I finished up therapy. And I said, time to stream. So, guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. If we don't come back tomorrow, happy Friday the 13th. Happy Valentine's Day. I try to do the Atari corn games for Valentine's Day every year. Some of them are a little tougher because they need paddles, and I can't do that on emulation. But oh, hey Megan, I apologize, but you came in. I'm about to be off like a prom dress here. My favorite Disney horror movie, Something Wicked This Way Comes. You probably would have guessed it. I made a joke about Cuban cigars and rolling on the thighs of women. We were talking about my E.T. finger light, one of the banned toys we just discussed. This one was banned because it looked like a penis. Whereas the other ones were banned because they killed kids. Gave kids cancer. Burned them. Ate them. You know what, Megan? There's a toy on here that ate children. So that's why y'all need to go back and fucking watch what you missed. And I never ask you to do that. Never, ever, ever. But seriously, guys, if you would be so kind, by all means, go down, click on my Etsy. If there's anything in there you could use, please. I could actually use the cash right now to finish molding up this one hide. I was hoping to have at least 10 of them by now. I have plenty of liquid plastic. I just underestimated how much silicone I needed. It's a very specific kind. So I could use a couple extra bucks just to make this new small business right here. Right here. It's oh yeah, you can't see it. This guy. Reptile Haunts. Homes for your creepy little monsters. You know, if you have a reptile or a snake. I wouldn't recommend it for like chewy kind of animals like hamsters and stuff. But it's up to you. It's up to you if you want to purchase that for yours. But that should be going here pretty soon as I can finish molding up my pile of skull. And of course I have the gore gourd, which is basically like a pumpkin-shaped rib cage with viscera meeting between the ribs. Your snake will fucking love it. Actually, that's more for like geckos and shit. It's a little guy. But in all seriousness, I never really beg you guys to spend money except for the Alzheimer's Association. And I don't ask for donations or anything like that because I'd rather you have something to show for it. So hit that Etsy shop and look often. We're going to have video game stuff and toys on there here pretty soon. And, yeah, maybe this Rough Rider. You could try to stop them. You could try to buy it. I got to resolder the ground. We'll play with it. Actually, that should have been a stream. Oh, well. It is what it is. But, guys, thank you always so much for watching. I can't say that enough. I love each and every one of you. I hope you have a wonderful Valentine's Day. If you are spending it with a special somebody or something. Tell me what that's fucking from. Yeah, and if not, just enjoy your weekend, and we'll catch you back on Monday. I'll probably stream at some point this weekend. No doubt in my mind, I probably will. But until then, guys, take care. Creep it real. Bart, I'm glad you thought this was fun, man. I'm wicked happy to hear that because I had a great time.